Valley locations. When it comes to Asian cuisine, no one does it better and more authentic than Kasai, where talented Teppan chefs create the food, the fire, and the fun of teppanyaki. Kasai Japanese Steakhouse isn't just dinner, it's dinnertainment. A memorable dining experience where a delicious 7-course meal is prepared right at your table with flair. It's a perfect choice for celebrations, date nights, or a night on the town. Choose from over 30 different items and combinations of teppanyaki, Asian fusion, and innovative sushi. Happy hour is always on fire and offered daily with specials on their Asian-inspired comfort food like Korean steak tacos, Mongolian barbecue ribs, and signature Wagyu beef sliders. Always a memorable dinner, or catch the game and a bite at the bar at Kasai. Now the 2 locations, Scottsdale Road in Thunderbird, and in Peoria at the 101 in Northern. Go to KasaiTeppan.com. That's KASAI Teppan.com, or search Kasai on your mobile phone.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM. Wherever you go, take us along. Listen to our live stream on our free Fanatic app. Download it today.
Hello, everybody. It is a Monday, and we are back. It's Beat the Book. You have no idea. I don't know how that's possible, but I'm glad you're here. I'm Keon Rhodes. Alongside me, our betting expert, Dylan Cohen, and this is 1580 The Fanatic, broadcasting live from the Harmon Solar Studios in sunny uptown Scottsdale, though it's a little chillier than it used to be. I don't know. I'm wearing the hoodie right now, just trying to keep warmer than I was this morning. It's pretty brisk, Dylan.
I'm all for the change of weather here. It's much better than just melting perpetually.
And to be clear, no complaints from me. I will gladly and proudly wear the hoodie as opposed to when it was 107 degrees on just a random Thursday afternoon. So you're on the text line if you want to join us, 888-368-1580, and I think you're going to want to, because our Cardinals contest that we do every single week, where you guess the win probability of the Arizona Cardinals at halftime. Well, we've got a winner, and we're going to have Alex Kane, the CEO of Sport Trade, to go ahead and give us that winner and announce that for us. We're looking forward to that. We're also looking forward to all the NFL talk that we're going to get into today, because we had another wacky Sunday in the NFL. But before we get to any and all of those things, Dylan, who powers the show?
We are powered by Sport Trade, and as Keon just mentioned, Sport Trade CEO Alex Kane will be joining us on the next segment here to go over the results of the Sport Trade giveaway. And, if you did happen to send in a guess on what that implied probability percentage was going to be for the Arizona Cardinals to win on the money line at halftime of their game yesterday against the Chicago Bears, then you're going to want to stick around for the next segment, because Alex is going to help us reveal who won the contest for yesterday. And if you happen to be, watching that Cardinals game yesterday, obviously our Cardinals won. They have just been playing some really excellent football lately. A lot of overachieving lately for our Cardinals. They were up at halftime. They were up by a couple of scores. So this should be one of those weeks where, if you think about the week prior when we faced the Dolphins, we were winning. The implied probability was still under 50%. So with the way things went yesterday, Cardinals cruised to a 20-point win. Definitely have to imagine that implied probability was above 50% at halftime. But stick around for segment 2, and that's when you're going to find out who won the $100 Amazon gift card, as well as the $50 in cash sent directly to your Sport Trade account. And if you don't have a Sport Trade account already set up, use promo code 1580 to sign up today and take advantage of their 10% cashback promotion on new account signups. And then that way you'll have your account ready to go for this Monday Night Football game that we've got going on. And that's going to be broadcasted here on 1580 The Fanatic. Is that right, Keon?
Absolutely, yeah. At a bit of a different time than usual because of the daylight savings, and so we don't change time, but everybody else does. So instead of 4:30, it's going to be 5:30. Will be the beginning of that broadcast.
Everyone's got a different opinion about daylight savings time. I love the way that this works out for just someone that has lived in Arizona their whole lives. I mean, I don't have to set some alarm and remember to set my clock back an hour or
Yeah.
whatever everyone else has to do.
I love it too. I used to live in Tennessee, Georgia, lots of other places. Quite frankly, I was an army brat growing up. But like the idea that you could just be late to your job because for whatever reason your alarm clock or whatever clocks you have in your house that tell you what time it is aren't set to the correct time. It just takes one clock to be wrong, to not be up to date. Your phone, like now we've got the phones kind of handle that a little bit better because they do it automatically. But changing the clock in your car, changing the clock, on the microwave and the oven and all the other things in your house to kind of make sure that you know what time it is. I hated that. That actually was horrible. I prefer this so much more. It's not even a difference to me.
I would drop the ball somewhere. I would miss one of those clocks. It
Yeah,
would
you
really
would,
mess me up.
and I don't know how I managed to do it. I always looked at the exact wrong one. I should have been fired like multiple times over just on daylight savings. It's ridiculous.
Well, one of the many reasons why we love this great state of Arizona here, and outside of the success that our Arizona Cardinals had yesterday, if you do happen to stay in touch with the Beat the Book website, and if you follow those Beat the Book betting picks that we do provide on that site, we went 6-4 going back to last Friday's picks. So we had a pretty good weekend there. We got Cardinals on the money line. We had ASU Sun Devils on the money line. That game took a really bizarre turn. I don't think I've ever seen a weather delay as long as what ASU had to ride out with OK State.
It almost helped them though.
Hey, we'll take it. We will take whatever help we can get. That's a scrappy Big 12 conference right there.
It is. I like the Big 12 more now somehow. Like I think that having Texas and Oklahoma suck up all the oxygen out of the room essentially kind of took away from what some of these other teams are doing. And I kind of like Big 12 football. It's feisty. Like you said, it's scrappy. I just think that a lot of these teams, nobody knows who the clear best team in the conference is. And so everybody gives their all to just be the team that kind of emerges in that group of teams.
So I did glance at ASU's schedule a little bit earlier, and I'm trying to pull it up in front of me right now. But if I remembered correctly, they've got a big game coming up against K-State. Or no, I'm sorry, they play UCF first. So yeah, that's a home game.
That is a home game, and that is a big game because UCF's pretty good conference. Pretty good school in the conference.
Really exciting where ASU stands right now, and seeing how that may finish out in the Big 12. We'll have some more to talk about for this later on this week. But Keon, I have to continue to give you props where the props are due. Jaden Daniels and your Washington Commanders just keep rolling along. Business as usual. They had a divisional game yesterday in New York against the Giants, and they won 27-22. Your boy Jaden Daniels goes for 209 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. When are the Commanders ever going to lose a game? I mean, they're a force to be reckoned with.
I don't know, and I like that answer. I like that I have no idea. It doesn't feel like there's any game that you could just write them out of from the beginning. Like maybe they show up and don't get on the same page the way they're supposed to. That just hasn't happened very often this year. And early in the year when they were trying to figure out what the offense was going to be, there were some struggles there. But now that this team knows what their identity is, they know how they want to play. They run the football really well. Jaden Daniels is untouchable sometimes. Like just guys try to get a hand on him. And it's like watching a second Lamar Jackson in the league sometimes with the way he just gets away from people and he uses his shiftiness to extend plays and throw the football downfield. And then the deep ball accuracy for him is just absurd. And he's got this relationship going with Terry McLaurin that seems to be finally moving in the right direction after a slow start. I don't know, man. I just love the team. I think that Jaden has been crazy good, better than advertised. And I am still struggling to get my head around that.
Well, you're not the only person that thinks really highly of Jaden Daniels right now. Odds makers feel very highly about Jaden Daniels right now. And if you happen to take a look at the current betting market on who the NFL regular season MVP is going to be, there's been a little bit of movement since yesterday. Jaden Daniels is now ranked number 3 on the pricing. He's priced as the third most likely person, along with Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes. They're all priced at 7-1, plus 700 to win the MVP. The only players that are priced as more likely than those three are Lamar Jackson at 3-1, plus 300, and Josh Allen at plus 290. Now, I also happen to notice on this list, our very own Kyler Murray has actually climbed up it quite a bit. He is now among the top 12 quarterbacks ranked to win the MVP. He is currently priced same as CJ Stroud at 30-1. And Keon, we were talking a little bit about this before we got started here on the show. And I think this is a pretty compelling question to ask at this point. You've got your Washington Commanders that are currently in first in the NFC East. And then we've got the Arizona Cardinals that are currently ranked first in the NFC West. And I'm just wondering, is there potentially a scenario if the Cardinals or the Commanders happen to continue to overachieve and continue to have this kind of success, if either one of these teams finished in the top 3 of the NFL based on their record, could they offer a more compelling MVP case than a guy like Josh Allen, who is expected to do as well as he's currently doing, than a guy like Lamar Jackson, who is expected to do as well as he's currently doing, or even a guy like Patrick Mahomes that is on the verge of potentially, getting a three-peat for his team in the Super Bowl? Because the one thing that I like about these guys versus those 3 guys is that they have that kind of underdog element to them. And the MVP award contest, it becomes a popularity contest to some extent, not completely. Right. So now if you've got Kyler or Jaden riding some big underdog wave, the team is doing things that no one in a million years would have expected from either one of them. Could they kind of ride that underdog momentum to a potential MVP award?
They could. It happens. I think it happens fairly often. But there's a couple of things working in their advantage. One, there's a little bit of voter fatigue, I think, when it comes to Lamar Jackson in particular. He's already a 2-time MVP, and he's already putting together a 3rd MVP season. At some point, Lamar is going to have that success in the postseason, or it's going to be hard for him to win MVP awards, even though it's a regular season award, and he's really damn good in the regular season. When you look at Josh Allen, it hasn't been all sunshine and roses for Josh Allen. There have been ups, but there have also been downs with him on a team that's largely considered to be a good team. Like, they didn't have a lot of wide receiver help early, but the team otherwise, they could still run the football. The offensive line's still really solid. That defense is a more than respectable defense that they have in Buffalo. And then they started the year, Khalil Shakir showed off, I think, a little bit more than what people realized. And then you take a look at the trade for Amari Cooper. Like, the weapons are there for Josh Allen, and that doesn't mean that he wouldn't deserve the award. But when you look at what Jaden Daniels has been able to do in Washington, where that team, obviously, they picked 2nd overall, or I got the 2nd quarterback pick overall in that draft. And then you look at what Kyler Murray's done with the Cardinals, a team that nobody expected to be particularly good. If this team were to win the division, it'd be hard not to say he'd be a serious candidate, because a lot of it is Kyler's put the team on his back and is carrying them to wins. He didn't look insane this week. He had 150 yards. It wasn't like he had a monster game on the ground. But, like, look at every time that the Cardinals needed a first down in the second half. Kyler was doing it, and that's part of it. And they were running the ball really well. And because you have to worry about Kyler as a runner, he does affect defenses a lot. So he's going to have the numbers, I think. 11 touchdowns so far, 3 interceptions this season. That's a good touchdown to interception ratio halfway through. You can get, 22-6, 23-6 by the end of the year, and you're winning the division and the team's competitive, knowing what the Cardinals were supposed to be. He's more than going to be in the mix.
Well, and I'm just curious, in Arizona's sake, can we bring a team that's like relatively healthy, into that time of the season? Because Kyler Murray has led successful Cardinals teams before. This isn't the first time that we've been halfway through a season with Kyler Murray as our starting quarterback, and we're, first place in the NFC West. So in years past, where we've had that level of success, where we knew we were going to be playoff bound, the same thing happens each time. We limp ourselves into that, first week of the wild card round, and we have so many significant injuries going on that we just can't put a very talented unit on the field. Particularly Kyler Murray himself. There's been times where he hasn't even been available for that first playoff game, and then this great successful season that the Cardinals had, it just ends with a really miserable wild card performance. So that's something that I'll be keeping an eye on, at least, is what kind of health can this team, hopefully maintain between now and the end of the season. I mean, you look at some of these next games that the Cardinals have coming up, and they don't look like, just count them out their losses. I mean, they feel like games where the Cardinals are going to be able to compete. We got a home game against the Jets. After that, we're on the road at Seattle. Then we're at Minnesota, which definitely not going to be an easy one there. But after that, we're home against Seattle. We're home against the Patriots. We're at the Carolina Panthers.
Well, yeah, I mean, you take a look at this schedule. I think it's interesting for a number of reasons, because you were talking about the Jets, but like, you just look at the games that feel winnable. I'm not saying that they're going to win, but the Jets are so inconsistent. That's not a game that you write the Cardinals out of just sight unseen. I would say the same thing for the Seahawks and the way that they're playing after that overtime loss that they had to the Rams, where they played the most balanced football that they've played all year. I thought their defense played well. They still lost. Like, there are problems in Seattle. Minnesota has a defense that can be had. It's a defense that, if it's working well, you're not going to do a whole lot against it. But if you can start to find the cracks in that defense, and teams have, especially in the second half of the season so far, yeah, like, there's this not an impossible Minnesota team to beat. Tough, sure, but not impossible. Seattle, again, like, it's just, they have issues that I imagine the Cardinals are going to be able to exploit. Obviously, the Patriots are, depending on which version of that offense you get, that's a team that you just should beat, like, just flat out. The Panthers are a team you should beat, flat out. And then the Rams, that rematch could go either way, because you're obviously dealing with a Rams team that's much healthier now. They're playing better. And then you round it out with the Niners, who you've already beaten. Like, there's absolutely no reason to believe that the Cardinals can't make the playoffs with the position they've put themselves in. But I was actually talking about this on the show this weekend. It was important for the Cardinals to win this game, because if you go to 4-5, teams that start 4-5 make the playoffs 16% of the time. If you start 5-4, you make the playoffs 43% of the time from that starting position. So the Cardinals help themselves a lot simply by winning that game on Sunday.
Well, and outside of the two games they have left against the Seahawks, we already have wins against the Rams and against the 49ers. So when you look at those last two games of the season, the pressure's on the Rams and the Niners to need to get those wins for the sake of any kind of tiebreaker, scenarios that come around. So, having those early wins against those two divisional opponents, goes a long way for the Cardinals, and, just trying to, carry themselves throughout the second half of the year. As long as at the very worst, if you split that series with the Seahawks, then, at least immediately up front, no one has any edge over you in a tiebreaker situation. And then if you're deferring to, does it go to the conference record?
Yeah, I believe it would go to conference record after that.
And the Cardinals do have a pretty good conference record right now, I believe. I'm going to double check that. So, it's a very opportune.
So it would be head to head, then the best one-loss tied percentage of games in the division. Then it would be percentage of games you have in common. Who's got the best percentage there? And then it would be the strength of victory in all of those games, and then the strength of schedule, and then actually this was much longer than I thought. Strength of schedule, then it would be best combined ranking amongst conference teams, then it would be best combined ranking amongst all teams in points scored and points allowed, then best net points, then best net points in all games, then best net touchdowns in all games. And if somehow after all 11 of those things you're still tied, the coin toss.
That is insanely more comprehensive than I thought.
I thought it was like a 5 item list, and I start to scroll down and I see more things on the list. and there's another tiebreaker procedure in case there's 3 clubs or more. Yeah, no, the NFL's very thorough about this.
Well, at the very least, Cardinals have the best divisional record and the best NFC conference record out of all 4 teams in the NFC West. So they do have that going for them.
Yeah, which are the most important ones because those are the most likely tiebreakers you're going to come across, obviously.
And Keon, I believe, are we up against a break here?
We are there. So that's NFL talk there. We're going to try and get to some other NFL talk closer to the end of the show. But we're going to talk to Alex Kane, CEO of Sporttrade, right now, and he's going to announce the winner of the Cardinals win probability contest. Stick around. Beat the Book coming up next.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Live and local.
There's a wolf on the loose in Arizona. Its name is Ruben Gallego. Ruben's got quite a body count, a real wolf in wolf's clothing. Ask his ex-wife. He left her for a D.C. lobbyist. She got pregnant, and he divorced her just days before she was due. Ask anyone who's done business with Ruben, from the immigrants he swindled out of their life savings to that ambulance company he helped run. You know, the one that filed for bankruptcy and had to pay $2.8 million for Medicare fraud when he left. Or you can ask grieving families. After a mass shooting, Gallego told them, your prayers. He also said he would have killed American protesters on January 6th. Well, now he's coming for you. Gallego wants to unlock your borders to violence, drugs, and sex trafficking. He voted in lockstep with Biden and Pelosi. He wants to vote that way again for Kamala. You can't let that happen. Don't be his next victim. Stand up and say hell no to Ruben Gallego.
I'm Carrie Lake, and I approve this message.
It's fall football on The Fanatic. Catch all the live game play-by-play. Monday night, Thursday night, and Sunday day and night NFL games. Plus the Saturday NCAA football game of the week. It's all right here on the Valley's home for football. 1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic. Brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Hey guys, Jeffrey O'Brien here. Did you know Harman Solar has gone super high tech? There's an amazing tool at harmansolar.com that'll give you an instant ballpark solar estimate using satellites from space. You just type in a little information, and within seconds, you'll have an idea of just how little money it takes to save big on that monthly electric bill. I did it, and within seconds, they measured my roof and calculated my savings. It's very impressive. Go to harmansolar.com and give it a try yourself. That's harmansolar.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up. I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code QUICK to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code QUICK for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code QUICK for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Now, you can be the guy that eventually gets bits and pieces of the latest news. Or you can get the whole story when it breaks. The NFL is always in season here.
That's how we do it.
Follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Or at 1580thefanatic.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back. This is Beat the Book. I am Dylan Cohen. I've got my co-host Keon Rose in the control room. And now is the time to reveal the winner of the Sporttrade contest that we've been running each week. And we have Sporttrade CEO Alex Kane joining us right now to help us reveal the lucky winner. Alex, how are you, man? How's it going?
What's up, guys? Happy Monday. New day for this. Excited.
That's exactly right. And, when we were having some conversations, just, doing our regular planning, like how we do, I was excited that, we finally got to have you on here on a Monday because typically, Keon and I are revealing the winner ourselves. And, we do get to have you on a Friday to kind of preface how things works. But it's really nice to have you on today. So this way you get to be a part of the excitement when we figure out who is the lucky winner of the $100 Amazon gift card and the $50 in cash sent direct to your Sport Trade account. Alex, for anyone that we have listening right now that maybe isn't, aware of, this contest and what we've been doing for the last few weeks and how this all works, do you mind just kind of explaining how this giveaway works, what the prizes are, what it takes to win it, and then we'll go ahead and reveal the winner from last week?
Absolutely. So the key differentiator in Sport Trade is that we express our odds as probabilities. We all work in probabilities every single day. What are the chances it's going to rain today? What are the chances that Donald Trump's going to win the presidency? That's a huge one everyone's betting on now. And Sport Trade works the same way, but for sports. So, for example, the Arizona Cardinals played the Chicago Bears last week. And the contest is at halftime of the game, you're trying to guess what is the probability of the Arizona Cardinals to win going to be on Sport Trade at halftime. So let's say they were something like 42% pregame. What are they going to be after one half of football? And you submit your guess, and we take the person that's guessed closest to the observed percentage that happens that we record on Sport Trade at halftime without going over, and that person wins $100 Amazon gift card, plus if they choose to open a Sport Trade account, which they absolutely should, $50 of cash given straight to the Sport Trade account. So that's how the contest works. Keon just told me off there that we had the highest amount of entries this week, which is very exciting. And there will definitely be a winner because the Cardinals did very, very well in the first half.
It's funny how it worked out yesterday. It was the complete opposite of how things worked the week prior. And the irony in it was that the Cardinals were up at halftime, even, the week before last when they faced the Dolphins. But, just based on scenarios going on in the game, perhaps maybe even some of it might be a little kind of political within sports. Who knows? Cardinals at halftime against the Dolphins being on the road in Miami, their win probability was under 50%. So now looking at yesterday's game, Cardinals were up a couple of scores at halftime and they were home. Alex, can you please reveal to us what the implied probability percentage was for the Arizona Cardinals yesterday at halftime against the Chicago Bears?
Answer is a whopping 88%, which is a new record, 88%. What a half of football the Arizona Cardinals produced.
So I was really excited when I got that number from you because, going back to what happened with the Dolphins, we didn't have any guesses that actually came in, right on the dot of what that number was or coming in just below it. And one of the key details that, we failed to mention here was that we do a Price is Right rules to this. So when you're trying to guess what that percentage is, if you come in above what that percentage actually is, then you're not going to win before someone who either guessed on the dot or came in below it, would ultimately, win before you. So in this case, with it coming in at 88%, as you can imagine, most of our submissions, I think just about all of them came in under. So that's good. Keon, can you please let us know who is the winner of the $100 Amazon gift card and $50 in cash sent to your Sport Trade account?
Yeah, the winner of the contest, I was going to do a drum roll, but that seems kind of tacky. I'm just going to say it. It's Kringleberry. Kringleberry had 64%. That was the guess, and that's as close to 88%. So we had a lot of Cardinal fans who were believing, but they didn't believe that hard.
Well, no. And, what's funny is, we've had someone win in the past, someone that I know personally to not be a Cardinals fan, and their lack of faith in the Cardinals, caused them to lowball that number, and that led to them actually winning one of these weeks. So now we kind of get the reverse where we get someone who is a believer in the Cardinals, who did see a pretty good chance that they were going to be up quite a bit at halftime. Their probability was going to come in greater than 50%. And Kringleberry, congratulations. Your faith paid out. You are going to receive that $100 Amazon gift card and the $50 in cash credited to your Sport Trade account. Please go ahead and send us right now, Kringleberry, a text message and just give us your first and last name as well as a good email address that we can send that gift card to on. And Alex, appreciate you helping us reveal the winner there. And for anyone else that's listening here that wasn't lucky enough to win, I mean, they're not completely out of this, right, Alex? We're going to keep doing this.
We're going to keep doing this. This has been very, very exciting. It's so awesome that we've had the highest amount of turnout here, which is awesome. The Cardinals play the Jets this week. That's interesting. The Jets have been one of the most curious teams in the league. I was certain that the Houston Texans were going to beat the Jets. The traders on Sport Trade, exact opposite. The Jets were 56% chance to win on Sport Trade about 2 hours before the game, and closing right before the game started, they moved all the way to 59%. We saw bets as large as $10,000 placed on the Jets money line that moved the price from 56 to 59% against the Texans. This week, Cardinals have the Jets. This is about as 50-50 as you could expect. Cardinals right now offered at 51% odds. So very interested to see where the callers come in and guess now that you can say, wait a minute, well, if the Cardinals take a 3-touchdown lead somehow against the Jets, and I guess 90%, there's no one else that's going to guess that high, I could guarantee a win. But of course, you're playing a game that's tough because, you know, how likely is it that the Cardinals are going to take a 3-touchdown advantage? So that is what you're trying to guess. You're trying to guess and get as close to what that probability of the Cardinals to win is on Sport Trade after one half of football.
So we will be doing this again. Alex will be back with us this coming Friday to talk a little bit more about this contest and to help us preview that Cardinals and Jets game that's going to be taking place this coming Sunday. So be sure to tune back in to Beat the Book this coming Friday. And starting Friday is when we will accept the next round of text message submissions to participate in the contest so you can give yourself a chance to win the gift card and the cash sent directly to your Sport Trade account. Alex, I just wanted to ask you, since you were, bringing up, the kind of action that, Sport Trade was taking on the game from last week with the Jets and the Texans. I was one of those people that didn't quite understand why the Jets were favored, and I was pretty confident the Texans were going to win that game, and then that completely backfired on me. So, maybe there's a little bit more, to embrace there with, the probabilities that Sport Trade will give you there. Cause I looked at those and I was like, no way, they don't know what they're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. And, that didn't work out so well. But I'm just curious with Sport Trade, there is a way to be able to see, the kind of action that other users are placing on there. Is that right?
That's right. It's called The Tape. It's available to anyone with an iPhone or iPad, coming to Android soon. And it's a real-time feed of every single bet that's placed on the app in real time. So just now, someone bet Rice plus 8 points versus Memphis. They bet $205 at 49%. And just this afternoon, we've seen a really huge spike in NBA volumes. So 10 minutes ago, someone put just over $5,000 on the Orlando Magic plus 12.5 points at Oklahoma City Thunder at 50.5%. Just a minute before that, someone put 1,000 on Spurs plus 4 at 50.6%, so on and so forth. So we've seen a real explosion, even in the last, 20, 30 minutes on the NBA volumes, where you can see players regularly getting $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 down. So that's how the app works. And what we want to show you with the tape is we want to give you as much information as possible so you can make an informed bet before placing it.
Keon, he shouted out, I don't know if you caught that, someone put over 5K on the Magic to cover. They're playing the Thunder tonight in Oklahoma City. They don't have Paolo Banchero. Maybe someone knows something I don't there.
You're either dealing with a high roller or somebody who's sharp in ways that the rest of us are not.
Fingers crossed for them on that one. Alex, we should take advantage of this opportunity while we have you here. On a Monday, there is a Monday night football game that's going on. It's going to be broadcasted here on 1580 The Fanatic. And this game in particular does feature, an undefeated Kansas City Chiefs team Is there any notable action that you guys have taken on that Monday Night Football game that we should know about?
Looking at the tape now, looks like, I mean, we give you the option just like every other sports book. You don't have to take the main 50-50 point spread. I think it's like 9.5 is the 50-50. I see here $1,700 on Chiefs minus 6.5 at 60% odds. $745 on Chiefs minus 7 at 57% odds. Definitely seen more Chiefs money here than Tampa Bay, and I'm surprised based on where Tampa Bay. I mean, see $50 here in Tampa Bay, $100 on Tampa Bay plus 9.5, 52%. But definitely more action on Kansas City.
So I was looking at the text line, and I got a happy text and I got a sad text. I'll start with the happy text. That's Kringleberry, who won the contest with the 64% guess. He says, "Woo! Thanks, guys. I thought there was no way I guessed the highest." Kringleberry, there was not another person in front of you. Congratulations. And Kringleberry also passed along the info and the Sport Trade account. So all of that information already set up. Good job, Kringleberry. Baker's Cocky Hens, who, if you can remember, when we did this the first week we did this, Baker's Cocky Hens went over the Price is Right rules by, I believe, 1%. And so his only text question is, how much did I lose by? And Baker's Cocky Hens, I'm so sorry. You guessed 62%.
Oh, no.
Baker's Cocky Hens has been within 1% higher and 2% below the winner. A streak of bad luck that's got to end at some point.
I mean, we're only halfway through the season, so plenty more chances to take another crack at it. That's just a tough break there. Alex, wanted to just ask you too. You know, the last time you were on here, we were talking a little bit about NBA prop markets. You know, NBA season just started. A few weeks ago, and Sport Trade's offerings for the NBA are kind of always changing, and there's always going to be some new things kind of added. Is there anything on the horizon with like NBA prop betting markets? Any new additions that you guys have planned?
So we added recently blocks and steals. So we now offer points, rebounds, assists, points, rebounds, and assists, 3-pointers, and blocks and steals, as I've mentioned. I think we're going to add double-double. We also would like to add first basket. First basket doesn't really play as much into our model, which is like as the probability shifts, you have the ability to cash out of your bet at that new price. But it's something customers I think want, so we're going to add those things. I think the bigger takeaway is like, I think we've all seen in the last 2 weeks, like we live in a world of probabilities. I would wager that many of the listeners out there have heard about Polymarket or Kalshi or seen all these crazy bets. Amber Rose just put, I think, a $15,000 bet on Trump to win the election. Doesn't matter where you fall in the political spectrum. I think the takeaway is there's going to be a lot more focus on this probability-based betting. Even Robinhood now allows you to bet on the election. And the great thing about it is it's the exact same format as Sport Trade. So if you want to get a jump on this completely new way of thinking about sports betting, even on something like that Magic game, I just opened the Magic Thunder game. The Magic are offered at 14.5%. The magic of the how Sport Trade works, no pun intended, is that you can bet in on the Magic, let's say 14.5%, put $5 down, $10, $20. As that win probability changes, which is going to happen within minutes of the game starting, you constantly have that ability to exit, to cash out at that new market price. So Magic get out to an 8-2 lead and Thunder call a quick timeout. That 14.5 is going to go from that price to 25, allowing you to cash out for a profit. So it's a totally new way of thinking about sports betting. I love this contest because it really starts to have folks think in terms of probabilities. But I think people are starting to notice, even outside of sports, how prevalent this probability-based version of betting is becoming. With tomorrow being election day, it's in all of our faces, and there's going to be a ton of money put down on the election.
Well, and to further your point a little bit more, and this is one of my favorite parts about that whole dynamic, just the way that it's laid out for you on Sport Trade. I mean, if it's your thing and you love the probabilities and you want to bet based on percent likelihoods, then it's right there for you. But let's just say you've, been pretty experienced with traditional American sports betting and the way your brain works, you've kind of trained yourself to those, American type odds. Well, those are still listed on Sporttrade for you. So, it's not like it's completely tossing that stuff out and you're only working with those probabilities. You'll have those same American odds on there as well. And then you can start to kind of understand, what does 50% likelihood, look like based on American odds. And then this will kind of help you convert it over a little bit. And actually, to that point, Alex, I believe you guys have like a tool on your website where you can, maybe convert other sportsbooks odds into those implied probabilities. Isn't that right?
That's right. You go to our homepage, tap on Learn, and you can see something called the Sporttrade Advantage, which allows you to say, wait, what is minus 500? Oh, that's 86%. What's 20%? Oh, that's plus 400, and so on and so forth. And as you mentioned, Dylan, even within the app itself, I can see here someone just put $100 on Al Horford under 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists versus the versus the Atlanta Hawks here. And I could see that's offered right now at 54.5%, which is minus 122. So you do have that ability to see both at the same time. And for a lot of our players, that is the preferred method. They like the implied probability format, but it's always nice to see, okay, wait, I'm about to bet this on Sporttrade. Is that the best price? Minus 122. Yes, that's the best price. I'll go ahead and bet it on Sporttrade.
Well, and, with those new props that are out now for the NBA, the defensive props, that's something I'll be taking a look at. Our Suns play pretty big game tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers. So glad to hear that you guys got those things added just in time. And, glad to hear that there's some more things coming on the horizon for the NBA betting as well. So, Alex, we're really excited to have you back with us this coming Friday to do another round of the Sporttrade giveaway contest for the $100 Amazon gift card and $50 in credit sent directly to your Sporttrade account to bet with. And with that, Alex, I will let you go here. But thank you so much again for your time. It was great chatting with you.
Awesome. See you guys all on Friday.
We'll talk to you on Friday. Take care. All right. And we're going to take another break here. But when we come back, Keon and I are going to discuss the two bigger games on the slate tonight, that Monday night football game that's going on. And just like I said, our Phoenix Suns back in action, going for win number 6. You are listening to Beat the Book on 1580 The Fanatic.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Live and local.
Direct savings and client focus, the cornerstones of the Diamond Dave philosophy.
Hi, I'm Diamond Dave Cantor. My team and I at Desert Wholesale Diamond can be your trusted friends with an inside scoop on the diamond world.
Just like they are to thousands of people around the world.
And just like we have been for over 34 years.
At Diamond Dave's, it's all about the diamonds and the savings, not paying for high-end retail locations or the overhead of a mall.
You stand to save big time with our by appointment professional office approach combined with direct importing.
When you choose Diamond Dave's, you choose huge savings, top quality, and excellent service. Call, email, or message us for an in-person appointment.
Or sit back and relax for free FedEx shipping anywhere in the USA.
Call Diamond Dave at 480-397-2450. That's 480-397-2450. Or follow him on Instagram at Diamond Dave Cantor. That's at Diamond Dave, Kantor.
There's a wolf on the loose in Arizona. Its name is Ruben Gallego. Ruben's got quite a body count, a real wolf in wolf's clothing. Ask his ex-wife. He left her for a DC lobbyist. She got pregnant, and he divorced her just days before she was due. Ask anyone who's done business with Ruben, from the immigrants he swindled out of their life savings to that ambulance company he helped run. You know, the one that filed for bankruptcy and had to pay $2.8 million for Medicare fraud when he left. Or you can ask grieving families. After a mass shooting, Gallego told them, your prayers. He also said he would have killed American protesters on January 6th. Well, now he's coming for you. Gallego wants to unlock your borders to violence, drugs, and sex trafficking. He voted in lockstep with Biden and Pelosi. He wants to vote that way again for Kamala. You can't let that happen. Don't be his next victim. Stand up and say hell no to Ruben Gallego.
I'm Carrie Lake, and I approve this message.
Hey, everybody, it's Mark Asher back to tell you about my great friends at the Lund Mortgage Team. Did you know that the Lund Mortgage Team was founded back in 1999? That's right. They're celebrating 25 years in existence this year. And you know what you have to do to stay in business that long? You have to be good at what you do. And the Lund Mortgage Team is not just good, they are great. They have helped thousands of people save thousands of dollars over those 25 years here in the Valley of the Sun. They only lend in Arizona. And they're mortgage brokers, which means they can shop your rate around. They're not tied to just one set of rates. Mortgage rates can get crazy. They can get high. They can get low. There's good times to strike and there's times to stay on the sideline. Let the Lund Mortgage Team be your coach, be your team leader when it comes to these huge decisions. Call 623-875-9940. That's 623-875-9940, or you can always check them out at lundmortgage.com. Great website with all the tools you need. Call them today. They're my great friends, and you'll love them. It's the Lund Mortgage Team.
This is Brent Musburger. Don't miss Betting Across America, Saturdays at 11 a.m. right here on Arizona Sports Betting Station, 1580 and 99.3. The Fanatic.
Yeah, we were just talking about it during the break. The guy that bet $5,000 on the Orlando Magic, that's living the good life. Because I can't imagine having $5,000 and going, you know what? The Orlando Magic, that's who I'm going to really bet on. That's worth $5,000. I can't even.
Like, if that's rent money, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness gracious! Magic might have been
evicted. That's what's going to happen.
Magic might have been down 25 points at halftime to the Mavericks yesterday on the road. Now they're playing second night of a back-to-back on the road in Oklahoma City against the best team in the NBA.
Okay, sure, smart, wise decision making there. This is what the tape allows you to do with Sport Trade. You can tail somebody. You can also fade them. You can also just go, oh, that guy's an idiot. I'm betting against him now.
And seriously, I mean, if you want to see what we're talking about, this is one of the best things with Sport Trade. You don't even need to have the account set up to like see this tape that we were discussing and see all these different bets. All you have to do is download the app. So if you download the app, you don't even need to make an account. You can just hit the tape and then you can start scrolling through it. You can see all this action. So as soon as Alex shouted out that bet, I scrolled, I found it, and I'm just like, really?
Oh man, because when you try to find what the betting action is across some of these other sports books, there are websites that track that, but they're not always the easiest websites to find. They're not always the easiest websites to use, to be quite honest.
I'm pretty sure they still don't break it down to that individual level of like, here was this bet, here was this bet, here was this bet.
Certainly not that. It's sort of like a trend, and you have to check it like every day. You don't get to just look at it once and go, oh, clearly the people with lots of money are betting on this thing. You kind of have to check it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you maybe have a good idea Thursday for a bet you're having Saturday. That really is how a lot of the VSiN guys especially will kind of use that stuff. Sport Trade is just trying to make it easier for you. So I appreciate that.
I do just want to give one PSA here, since we are a show that encourages responsible betting, whether that's in sports or within some of the other markets that Alex did happen to shout out there. As far as trying to show the similarity and using implied probabilities, yes, Kalshi, Polymarket, I mean, it's the same exact concept. But that being said, I don't want anyone to get sucked into political betting here. And this isn't like a political message that I'm trying to broadcast here.
No, this is a betting message.
This is a betting message.
Don't bet on politics.
Those gambling markets, they don't operate the same as sports betting markets, and do not look at those odds and just assume one thing or another and then bet a certain way because of it. The same way that I would encourage other games or events here, and I'd say don't bet on it. That's my message for political betting. Yeah, don't bet on it, but it's a great visual example for implied probability.
Especially the presidency. How maybe you know something I don't know. I have no idea who's going to be president tomorrow.
The implications of those odds do not mean the same thing as implications of sports betting odds and things priced a certain way. It all works completely differently. If you want to learn more, look up Nate Silver. He is the founder of 538. They do a lot of presidential projections. They started within sports and doing sports projections. And Nate Silver is one of the leading authorities on just sports betting markets. He understands them more intuitively than 99.9% of people. So that's my message for that. let's get back to some actual sports. We've got very exciting Thursday night football. Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs playing in Arrowhead. Is there a reality that we live in, Keon, where somehow the Buccaneers end up winning this game, or is this just completely the Chiefs to lose?
No, there is a reality where the Buccaneers can win this game. Patrick Mahomes has thrown 8 touchdowns to 9 interceptions this year. This has not been a great year for him. Now, granted, like the numbers make it look bad. Like he hasn't been bad. He's thrown, over 1,600 yards. He's completing a dizzying number of those passes. Like the percentage is good. It's just they found themselves, I think, in some tougher situations, longer fields, and he's had to be a little bit more aggressive with the football, and without the weapons that he's used to for him to be that aggressive, I think that's led to some turnovers, but those turnovers opened the door for teams to win football games. Just take a look at the Seahawks and the Rams. I know I keep harping on it, but like that's the game that stuck out to me yesterday because I was like, man, what am I watching? The Seahawks played well. They turned the ball over too much and they lost the game. So if the Buccaneers can protect the football and the Chiefs don't, the Buccaneers could win this game. It's just Baker Mayfield turns the ball over a lot too. 9 interceptions for Baker Mayfield as well on the year. He's very aggressive. The difference though, 21 touchdowns. Like he just absolutely has a nose for the end zone. Can he do it though? With maybe a hobbled Mike Evans. Don't know how good Mike Evans is going to be for this game. And obviously no Chris Godwin. That's the real question for the Buccaneers.
So that was actually going to lead to my next question. I wasn't aware that Mike Evans even had like a chance of playing. I just assumed they were going to give his hamstring a break. It looks like he did get ruled out.
Okay. Yeah, it was one of those, he was trying to practice Friday and
that would just be like reckless at that point. Cause like the next step for him is just straight up tearing that hamstring. Like sometimes you got to just give that
I
thing
think
like
they're a little bit desperate in a division that's winnable, and that leads teams to make very bad decisions. Also, Baker's cocky hands was talking about the Orlando Magic bet earlier. Don't want to forget this text. He said, sounds like a Jonte Porter type bet. It's like somebody in the Magic organization made that bet because that would make more sense than just a guy doing it, because I can't imagine who that would be.
I think Baker's cocky hens and I are on the exact same
maybe
page
there's
with,
something there
with how we're thinking about that. But going back to this football game, Baker Mayfield, 4 out of his last 5 games, he's thrown for 300 or more passing yards. So with his line tonight, the last time I looked at his passing yards, the line was basically right at 250.
He's averaging 273 for the season.
Does Baker have enough weapons at this point with no Godwin and no Mike Evans? Is there a way he could still get to 300 passing yards with the players that he's got playing with him today?
Kind of. I mean, he's got Otten out there. Obviously, the running backs are going to have to be part of the passing game too, but they have been. Bucky Irving in particular has been a big part of the passing game, that screen game. They don't really line him up at wide receiver very often, but he can. Like he's shown some ability in doing that. And then Jalen McMillan's had like a little bit of success with Baker as well in the last game or two. So like there's enough there that if they force the issue, there's going to be some success, but I should also point out that this is a Chiefs defense that does really, really well against the pass. They do a great job of limiting quarterbacks, and teams with loaded wide receiver cores struggle against Kansas City. So it's one of those, it's right on the line because he's averaging 270 for the year. And so 250 would be 20 below that against a really good defense. Do you think that maybe he could squeak that out? It would be close, but it's not impossible.
If you haven't checked it out already, if you visit the Beat the Book website, you will see the 10 picks that were posted for today. There's 4 of them are for this NFL game tonight. The rest are for the NBA. You can get there by following me on Instagram. The tag is at Beat the Book Fanatic, all spelled out. Just click the link in the bio. That'll take you right to the Beat the Book website where the picks are posted. You can also get there through the 1580 The Fanatic website. Just click on the Beat the Book with Dylan Cohen logo. That'll take you right to the website where the bets are posted. And if you do happen to check that out, one of the things I was pretty big on was Cade Otten on the Buccaneers getting receptions. He has been a very popular target of Baker Mayfield's, particularly in the wake of these wide receiver injuries. You can count on him to get 6 or more tonight. Keon, do you think there's a chance he can get more than 6?
There's a big chance he can get more than 6. It's he's the main weapon now. He's the guy in that offense, and we saw how much Baker trusted him a week ago. Plus, being a tight end you're not being worked on by Trent McDuffie, the corner for Kansas City. Baker's Cocky Hens on the text line, by the way, was saying Mike Evans is John McClane. He'd walk on glass to play in the game. That's a fact. Mike Evans is a warrior. He also says, I was thinking of that Baker stat also. Chiefs have allowed a 252 max this season when I looked at it last night, and plus 380 seems worth a shot. So, you know,
I think the juice might be worth the squeeze there. I definitely agree.
It really might be. And that's going to do it for us. Beat the Book. Coming up next, the Daily Blender right here on 15-8 The Fanatic.